had these ones?
City Sprouts started in 1995, and it was neighbors getting together and wanting to do something great with this empty space in the Orchard Hill neighborhood. They decided on a garden, and then it's been growing since then, almost 30 years.
It's been something I always wanted to do. I always wanted to learn how to garden. And then I saw, people gardening over here, and so I started getting involved.
Where it's like there's mentorship, so like they'll help you get your garden started.
I think people who don't live in the neighborhood that come here are like, whoa, I had no idea that this space was here, and they're really inspired by that, and maybe this is a part of town that they also haven't explored that much. I feel like it's a big point of pride for the neighborhood. I live in the neighborhood too, so speaking for myself, it's definitely a big point of pride. This garden space is like this common thing that brings everybody together.
So none, because then they got right when COVID started, so it was like way
I
more
love
needed.
to, now, I bring my grandkids. It's the most beautiful thing ever when I saw them eating, being taught about a flower that it was edible, and they all tasted it. And they was like, oh, it tastes like kind of like a pepper. So they kind of knew what that was. It showed me that they're open-minded about, being outside, learning things. They've done a lot to better the gardening community. To me, it's still City Sprouts. It feels like home.
It's always felt good to have a garden space where people can come and smell flowers and pick vegetables and all of that.
It's hard to see with the glare, but
Now we've gotten to a point where we're like, we need to really take this seriously and look at the big picture and see where we can continue to grow and share resources and like get our whole city to a place that is everyone's getting fed.
In 2018, moved back to Omaha, moved back home, and kind of helped, bring City Sprouts from what was a little tiny, tenth of an acre garden into what you see behind me here.
Of pride and ownership that you're doing something greater for the community, greater for yourself. You're not really just, it's mine, it's that you're sharing your crops, you're sharing your space, you're sharing your time with other people. The gap between the affordability of healthy food is starting to become a large gap now where some people just have no access to be able to buy the food. Even if they had the ability to go to a store, they just don't have the money for it. And that's even, in some other neighborhoods, it's not even a grocery store.
Looking at food as a justice issue is something that is really near and dear and core to what we do here at City Sprouts. We're not just growing great produce, we're growing great produce for a reason, and that reason is that we believe that everyone in Omaha should have equal access and equitable access to delicious, healthy produce like this.
We're kind of figuring it out and then helping support these other growers, and I think the more people we can get growing food in the city, the better.
By showcasing that you don't need a lot of land to be able to grow food. For example, at our farm, we're able to harvest a little over 10,000 pounds of food, acre and a half-ish, something like that. When they see that, they're like, oh, this can be done at a small scale and this much. It's like, yes, it can. And that's the biggest thing that we want to emphasize about land access is because it is difficult, but if you can have a small piece of land to work on, you can accomplish great things.
So we could not exist and do our jobs without our partners at the food bank or without our partners at Whispering Roots. And so if we didn't have them, we'd just be a bunch of weirdos out here growing kale, right? So anyone that grows on the small scale knows how much time it can take. And so our partnerships have really allowed us to get the knowledge, get the expertise on the distribution side, on the food pantry side that we don't have the time to kind of dig into ourselves, right? We're focused on growing as much food as we can here, and we're so happy to be able to rely on our partners to be able to help fill in the gaps.
They survey the people that are coming to their pantry to find out what they want to eat, and then we communicate with them and we're making sure that we're growing that kind of food. So they're able to distribute local, fresh, healthy produce that's also culturally relevant. That's really huge. Urban agriculture is going to continue to grow. I think there are going to be more people growing food on lots of these empty lots that we have around town.
The faster you put seeds down and the faster you watch them grow, the faster you're gonna learn. And you're gonna realize that seeds have been doing this for millions of years. Plants themselves, they'll do the work for you. As long as you provide them healthy food, a healthy soil, and you water them consistently, they'll do the rest. It's not that difficult. It's almost too easy. Really, I think so.